Welcome to Reddit Tell All. Today we have a story from r/TrueOffMyChest, and this does have an update, so make sure you stick around for that. So with that out of the way, let's just get straight on with the story. I didn't tell my husband. My partner, 31 male, and I, 25 female, are having our second child, and he hasn't been working due to an in-work injury. So for the last 2, going on 3 months, it's been very stressful for us. My paternal aunt gave me half of what she got from selling my grandma's house. Her mother. She inherited it last year due to my grandmother passing away. And she spent 6 months getting my moochers of a father and brother out of the house and fixing it up. We haven't spoken since the funeral, and last week she called to meet for lunch. And when I went, she handed me a check worth over $200,000. I didn't understand, but she said my grandma thought of me as a daughter, and I was the only one other than her that took care of her and my grandpa. And while they didn't have the money to give me, she sold the house, and after talking to her husband, decided I deserved half of it. My hormones were everywhere, and she had to help me calm down because we were in so much debt. I felt so thankful. She told me she wasn't giving anything to anyone else and would prefer for me not to tell anyone. So I didn't. I put it in my account, and once it cleared, I began slowly paying off my husband's and my debt. I paid people back that had loaned us money, cleared our credit cards, paid our car off, put $10,000 in our daughter's savings account, and planned to make one for our second child when it's born. I didn't tell my husband because we have separate finances and have since we got together. He doesn't even know what our debts were or how far behind we were, so I didn't think he would notice. But he watches his credit, and when he says that it went up and that I had received a letter from my community college that my debt was paid, he asked me. I told him my aunt gave me money, but not how much. And he tried accessing my bank account. When he couldn't get in, he took my debit card without me knowing and went to an ATM and saw the balance. He yelled at me for hiding it. I told him it doesn't matter because we were no longer in debt and we could finish our degrees. He walked out and hasn't spoken to me in 3 days. I requested a new debit card and changed my information regarding my account because now I don't trust him not to try and buy something. I admit I should have told him, but it's not like he knows how much money I make from my job. I don't know what to do. Well, so far, this relationship doesn't sound very harmonious. I understand a lot of couples want to keep separate finances nowadays, but I just couldn't imagine not knowing about the other person's finances, how much they earn, etc. And also, on her part, the fact that she feels like she has to hide this money is never a good sign. If I come into that money, there is no way that I would hide that from my husband. That is definitely a sign that your relationship isn't the best if you have to hide things like that. Just before the update, OP has also answered some of the questions that were asked in the comments. Edit. 1. He doesn't like my family at all. I met him when I was a kid because he was my older brother's best friend. Things changed when we got together when I was 19 and they don't speak anymore. He avoids anything to do with my family. 2. Most of our relationship is great. We agreed to have 1 kid because I dreamed of being a mum. But during the pregnancy, he treated me like crap. And even after our daughter was born, he continuously made me feel like a bad mum for asking him for help when I was exhausted. And he just wanted to play games or drink. He only started helping and being supportive after being separated for a few months and us getting counselling. 3. He and my daughter both have my last name. 4. I wanted joint finances when we got married and he didn't. I was only in debt $5,000 from my college at the time, and he had some, but he told me he had it covered, which I found out he did not. 5. What I meant about him not knowing how much in debt we were is that he'd open credit cards in both our names and max them out. And then when he couldn't use them anymore, he'd apply for more. I did not know this until hiring a firm to help get my credit up. They told me I could press charges or pay them off. I wanted to pay them off because he's my husband. And even if he put us in debt, I do love him. 6. We didn't want more children. He got into a fight with his sister and she did something she shouldn't have, but he also refused to get snipped. We didn't find out I was pregnant until it was too late for another option. 7. We moved in with my mum to help us get things back on track, and he got her at work. Yes, I believe he is depressed, but he's also blown all the money he had saved on video games, liquor and pot. He didn't spend a dime on any of the debt he caused or for our daughter. He makes more than I do, but with the way he spends his money, it's like we live on one income. 8. Do I trust him? Yes. I do in almost every way I can, except for money. He's proven that again and again. I also have been giving him small portions of the money so he can still go and do things he wants to do. It's not like I'm just hoarding it away from him. I just didn't tell him that it wasn't from my paycheck like he assumed. 9. He has the pins to my debit card because while I didn't tell him about the money, I do let him use it when he needs to. Wow, now that kind of makes sense why she didn't share the news about her getting the money. He just sounds real bad with money, and I would be so angry if my husband took out credit cards in my name and then maxed them out, especially when he earns more than her. Also, he just sounds quite selfish. He didn't spend any of the money on the daughter or on their joint debts, which was mainly caused by him. The fact is, OP actually spent the money that she got paying off mainly the debt that he caused. He should be thankful. Yes, he might be justified in being a bit angry that she didn't share the news. But at the end of the day, he has done more damage than her in this relationship. And as she said, now they can go back and finish their degrees. In the long run, they are going to be better off. This is a benefit to their lives. There is an update, so let's just get straight on with that and see where this story goes. Update. Over the last 3 days, I've spoken to my mum and my in-laws. My husband reached out to her that he didn't want to be with me anymore. But it wasn't because of the money. It was because he felt forced to get married and have a baby. And even though we got pregnant with the second one because of his sister, he still blames me. 6 years together, and felt like he refused to talk about it, even when we were in counselling. I asked his mum what he wanted to do because he wasn't answering my phone calls or messages, and she said she sent him money for a plane ticket so he could go to her. I am heartbroken that she didn't tell him to try harder for his kids. After all, his dad left him and his siblings, but I can't force him to stay, and I have to think about them right now. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I spoke to a lawyer my friend used for his divorce yesterday, and he's going to help me draw up divorce plans. He said my husband can go after the money, but he doesn't think he will. I'm filing for full custody and will be asking for a minimum in child support unless he wants to sign his rights over. I'm done being stupid and thinking he would grow up. I packed his things and hired a moving company to take them to his mum's house, so all his stuff will be gone in a few days. My first clue he didn't want our daughter was that she was not even crying, asking where he is. She's just running around with me and my mum. I did send him a little bit of money for his travels and told his mum I'll send the divorce papers as soon as I get them. She just told me okay and hung up. So that's what's been happening the last few days. Haven't spoken to my soon-to-be ex-husband, and I am now fully on my own since I was 19. I'm hoping everything goes good. Hopefully I don't have to update again. I don't know about you, but I really just wasn't expecting that update. I thought that they would work things out. I thought she would tell us we're still working on things, but everything's gonna be okay. I was not expecting him to just basically ghost her and just up and leave and not even have the decency to tell her. Imagine being married to someone and then for days you're like, where is he? I can't find him. You speak to his mum and she's like, I sent him some money for a plane ticket so he could come to live with me for a while. I would be like, excuse me, what? I don't even know what I would do in that situation. I think this just shows his true character, that he thinks so little of his wife, who he's been with for years and has a daughter with and one on the way. And he doesn't even have the decency to tell her face to face that he wants a divorce. He is too chicken to face up to it like a man. Instead, he just runs back to mummy. I definitely think that this woman probably is going to be better off because this man has done nothing but be a drain on this family. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you did like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see you all very soon.